Right, good evening YouTube. Jamie House's Trip 52 here again. Right, this is part number 2 of the ill-fated maiden voyage of the RMS TITANIC, which is this ocean liner. So, 112 years ago to today's date, this magnificent ocean liner departed Southampton on a maiden voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. So tonight I'm going to tell you about the maiden voyage, what occurred during that day, and also a few other little bits and pieces as well. So sit back and enjoy the video, guys, and please subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this sort of content. So on with the video, guys. So last time I left you was yesterday, and the RMS TITANIC just finished the sea trials, and she passed with flying colours. So now it's the 10th of it. So we wind back 112 years ago. So now the RMS TITANIC is at Southampton, waiting to depart to New York on a maiden voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. Across the Atlantic Ocean. So at the minute, she's in Southampton at the minute. She's tied up and she's moored up, so she hasn't departed anywhere yet. Right, the Olympic and Titanic, their port of registry was Liverpool. So they was both registered in Liverpool. It normally says on the back of here, but I can't show you on this because it doesn't show on this little model of the Titanic. So, but RMS Titanic was hometown of Liverpool. That's where she was christened, and also registered as well. So. Right, so Southampton. So back in Southampton 112 years ago, when the RMS Titanic was moored up ready for a maiden voyage across the Atlantic Ocean to New York. So with Southampton being on the south coast, it made ships like Titanic size to move nice and easily through the English Channel, as it was wide enough for ships of this size. So it made it really, really good for ships like Titanic size to pass through the English Channel and going to the port of call in Cherbourg, which is in southern France. So this was Titanic's first voyage, and this was due to be loads more crossings of this ship's size. This was destined to be loads more crossings between Southampton, England, and New York City, USA. So this was the first voyage of the RMS Titanic across the Atlantic Ocean to New York in USA. Right, on this voyage, the RMS Titanic had 885 crew members on board because of this maiden voyage. And the Titanic's captain was a man called Captain Edward John Smith, as he transferred from the Olympic to the Titanic. So Edward John Smith took captaincy of this ocean liner. So he swapped the Olympic for the Titanic. So at this day, the Titanic was under the command of Captain Edward John Smith, or Captain E.J. Smith. And Captain Edward John Smith was the most senior captain of the White Star Line. He was the most senior captain on this voyage. So he was the most senior captain on board the RMS Titanic. For the White Star Line, he was the most senior captain. And also a man called Harry Wilde came over from the Olympic as well to take control, to act as first mate on board the RMS Titanic. So he's another one that transferred from the Olympic to the Titanic to be first mate. And he was called Henry Wilde. So, this was the RMS Titanic's maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York, USA. And most of the crew for the RMS Titanic signed on board the Titanic on the 6th of April 1912. So, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4 days before Titanic's maiden voyage. Titanic's passengers on board the RMS Titanic on that day was estimated at approximately 1,317 passengers, and this considered above 324 first class passengers, 284 in second class, and 709 in third class. So by this point she was about three quarters of the way full. But usually a high press ship for the RMS Titanic, usually it'll be a high percentage of people wanting to board the Titanic. But thanks to a national coal strike, there was that caused disruption. So not many. So some people came on, some people didn't. And some most famous faces on board this crossing was a man called John Jacob Aston and his wife Madeline Phyllis Astor. So husband and wife team John Jacob Astor and his wife was on board this on board the RMS Titanic for the maiden voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. Another famous one was Benjamin Guggenheim. He was on board the RMS Titanic as well on its maiden voyage. So that was another famous face. And also Titanic's owner by a man J.P. Morgan was due to cross on the Atlantic on board the Titanic, but he cancelled. Whoops. But he was cancelled at the last minute, so he never came. So Titanic's maiden voyage began on Wednesday, the 10th of April 1912. which was exactly 112 years ago today. So she began her maiden voyage on the Wednesday the 10th of April 1912, when she passed Southampton. And the crew and the passengers began to flood in on the Titanic at 9:30 in the morning. When the London to South Western Railway boat train came through from London to South Western Railway's boat train. From London Waterloo Station to Southampton. And the first class passenger on board the RMS TITANIC was personally greeted by the captain, Edward John Smith. So that would have been a bonus, being met by the captain, and this only happened in the first class. So the second class and third class didn't meet Captain Smith, but the rest of them did. All the first class passengers did. In all, 920 passengers boarded in Southampton. Boarded the RMS Titanic in Southampton. 920 passengers. And that consists of 179 of first class, 247 second class, and 494 third class. RMS Titanic's maiden voyage began at 12 noon on the dot. So she departed Southampton at 12 noon on the 10th of April 1912. So it began at noon, the Titanic's maiden voyage. So they let go of all the ropes, and then Titanic sailed out of Southampton. But there was a little delay on the Titanic's departure from Southampton, because a boat nearby the RMS Titanic called the SS City in New York. So her ropes snapped and began swinging wildly towards the stern of the ship, which is about here. So as Titanic was sailing out, the SS City in New York rope snapped and began swinging towards the Titanic. Narrowly missing Titanic as thankfully, due to Captain Smith's wares like hard starboard, Titanic narrowly avoided it. She was going like that, but she narrowly avoided it like that, so yeah, the SS New York cable snapped. So they couldn't take the sudden strain that was passing the RMS Titanic. So they couldn't take the strain and snapped. And Captain Smith ordered Titanic's engines to head to starboard. No, full of stern, sorry. That's what Captain Smith ordered, full of stern for the engines, for Titanic's engines. The two ships, the SS City in New York and the RMS Titanic, avoided hitting each other by about 4 metres, 4 feet. 4 feet, 1.2 metres. They narrowly avoided each other on the way out, so that was a blessing. It was narrowly averted. But the incident with the SS New York delayed the RMS Titanic's departure from Southampton by an hour, while they brought the SS New York back under control and back into mooring. So RMS Titanic's main voyage was delayed for about an hour while this was brought under control. After this, the Titanic left Southampton onto a maiden voyage onto Cherbourg in France. So after making it safely through the Southampton water, after the RMS Titanic made it safely through Southampton waters, and also the Nair Blake trip at Southampton, she passed that as well. And then she headed into the English Channel. Next stop of call would be Cherbourg. That would be RMS Titanic's first port of call. And she headed for the French port of Cherbourg in France. She headed for there. And this was 77 miles away, which it is. $89 ml, 143 kilometres. So that's how far Titanic was from the French part of Cherbourg. So and the weather this maiden voyage was windy, was very windy, but it was absolutely fine. It was windy, but it was fine weather for Titanic's maiden voyage. So the weather was windy but fine. Then 4 hours after Titanic left Southampton, she arrived at the French port of Cherbourg. 4 hours after the Titanic had departed Southampton on a maiden voyage. 4 hours later, she arrived at Cherbourg, which is a French port. 4 hours after leaving Southampton, she came into Cherbourg, but she couldn't moor in Cherbourg because the sheer size of this vessel, so she couldn't fit in. So they had to get. And she was met by two smaller vessels, which was smaller than Titanic. And met by the tender ships, which was known as the SS Traffic. And the SS Nomadic. That's the two vessels Titanic met in Cherbourg, in the French part of Cherbourg. And there was 274 additional passengers taken on in Cherbourg. There was 274 additional passengers taken on. And this consisted of 142 first class, 32nd class, and 102 third class. So these were all transported to the RMS Titanic by the SS Traffic and the SS Nomadic. But SS Nomadic is the only sole survivor of the White Star Line vessel. She was the only sole survivor. And still around now, so there's a bit of information for you. Then in this port call, RMS Titanic there was 24 passengers taken off by the tender ships in Cherbourg, France, because they didn't want to go any further. So there was 24 passengers that was taken off from the SS Nomadic and the SS Traffic. And these were all taken off because they didn't want to sail on the Titanic. They only wanted to go to Cherbourg. Because they only booked the RMS Titanic for having only booked the cross-channel passage, so that's why 24 passengers got off, because they only booked the cross-channel passage. They only booked for that, so that's why 24 passengers got off at Cherbourg. So the process of getting these passengers on board was completed in 90 minutes. It was completed in 9 minutes, and when and 90 minutes she took to get all these passengers on board at Cherbourg. And by 8 PM that night, RMS Titanic weighed anchor and made her way across the Atlantic to Queenstown. So that's going to leave it for today, guys. So tomorrow I'm going to tell you the story when she came to Queenstown, and also when she weighed anchor, left Queenstown behind, and sailed across the Atlantic. But I'm leaving the video for today, guys, when by 8 PM she left Cherbourg in France. So that's why I'm leaving this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot. And look out for part 3 released tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed this video. See you all tomorrow. Bye bye.